all that abundant zucchini I have, I'm having to come up with all kinds of new recipes for it. This one is going to be a side dish, but a bread, but zucchini. I'm just going to call it Zucchini Puppies, Zucchini Poppers. Kind of like Hush Puppies. Anybody in the South knows what Hush Puppies is?
Poppers have cheese in them.
You want to put some cheese in it?
Do you want to?
Next time. I took a zucchini about this big and I cut it in half. I quartered it. Well, part of it I cut it into half and I roasted half of it. The other half of it I cut up into these little dicey pieces. I roasted them too. The big halves I roasted on 500 for about 10 minutes, and then the dicey pieces I threw in the pan and I roasted it all for an additional 10 minutes. And then I pureed the big pieces. I saved the little pieces. I have a cup of all-purpose flour in here. I have a half a cup of cornmeal. Okay, there is a difference between cornmeal and cornmeal mix. Cornmeal mix comes, it's got the flour, it's got the leavening, it's got all that in it. This is just cornmeal, yellow cornmeal, okay? That's how I'm doing this. You can do it with the cornmeal mix, you just need to add a little more flour. This is easier for me to do it this way. Teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon of baking powder. This is a bread type thing, so you gotta have some leavening in it. I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar. This is a half a teaspoon, so I'm gonna add just a full teaspoon of sugar just to give it tiny, tiny bit of sweetness that the zucchini itself doesn't have. I'm gonna add a quarter teaspoon of paprika, a little bit of flavor, a whole lot of color, a quarter teaspoon of pepper, tiny bit of kick, okay, and then just a dash of cayenne pepper. You can adjust that however you want. I don't want them to be super spicy, so I didn't add a whole lot. Mix all that in together. So, Hush Puppies, big deal in the South. Anytime you have a fish fry, you better have some Hush Puppies. Gotta have your fish, gotta have your french fries, gotta have your coleslaw, gotta have your Hush Puppies. And everybody makes their own version of Hush Puppies. This version of Hush Puppies, I'm adding a vegetable. Crazy, right? I've got 1/3 of a cup of milk, and I'm adding an egg to the milk. Oh, and I'm making a mess.
Mash up.
Okay, guess what, Smarty Pants? You get to clean it up. I'm gonna mix that together just a little bit. I'm gonna pour it into my dry ingredients. Now, this is gonna seem like it's a little bit dry when you start mixing it together. The reason for that is that pureed zucchini is really gonna add some moisture, and you don't want overkill. At this point, I would have already added oil to my mixture just to make Hush Puppies, but since we're doing it with the pureed zucchini, there's no way I'm gonna add oil and make these so watery that I can't form my little balls that I need. I've got my oil that I'm gonna be frying these in, preheating to about 350 degrees. That looks pretty, doesn't it, Benjamin? Doesn't that just look pretty? All that color in there.
Baby food.
Baby food. I knew you were gonna say that. You don't even remember baby food. I think you liked it.
I've seen it before. It's gross.
You liked it at one point in your life.
There's a challenge like that one youth camp we went to where we had to eat it, or someone had to eat it.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got my liquid. I'm not making a big batch of this because there's only 4 of us home for supper tonight. So I was trying to make sure that I kept it a small batch. You can double that however you want. I've got about a 1/4 cup of onion because you cannot have any kind of hush puppy without some diced onion. I tried to dice that really small, the size of the zucchini bites, zucchini bits over there. Try to keep it about the same size as what I've got here. Let me see that way. I love parchment paper, y'all. Parchment paper is my best friend because it helps save so many messes. And with all the cooking I do sometimes, there's definitely a mess. Anyway, I wanted to add those little bits of zucchini that were kind of the same size as the onion, just to give it a little extra depth and dimension. And one thing you're gonna wanna do, once you get these fried, you really wanna add just a little bit of salt there at the end, just to make all those flavors pop out just a little bit. Take them out of the fryer, put some salt on them just like you would French fries when they came out of the fryer. So, in a little bit, we'll be back and we will show you how these get fried up. All right, it is time to make these little zucchini bites. The way I make hush puppies or even these zucchini bites, I take 2 spoons. First spoon, I put it in. Second spoon, I drop it in with. You can tell my grease was definitely ready for this because of the way it started cooking immediately when I dropped it in there. You don't want to get much bigger than this because you want to make sure that you get even cooking all the way through. And it's going to start to float pretty quickly, but it's going to have to cook for several minutes on each side because you really want it a nice golden brown when they are done. So, well, I don't know about y'all, but I think that these look pretty amazing, really tasty, and I cannot wait to dive in and have these for supper. I really hope you try these out, and if you do, let me know. Let me know what you think, because I think this might be a new favorite around our house. All right, everybody take care of yourselves. I gotta finish up supper. Bye now.